Okay, folks, it's 6:31, so we will reconvene into open session. First, Madam Deputy Clerk, do we still have a quorum?
Yes, Mayor Patterson, we have quorum. Missing from council tonight are Councillor Boehm, Councillor Hutchison, Councillor McLaren, and Councillor Stroud. The remaining membership is present. From staff tonight, we have Brandon Forrest, John Bolagnone, Janet James, Craig Desjardins, Elizabeth Falwell, and joining us from KEDCO, we have Shelley Hurstwood. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we were just meeting in committee of the whole closed meeting. We did discuss a couple of items with respect to personal matters about an identifiable individual, Commissioner Transportation and Public Works Recruitment, and then also a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition by the municipality or local board. So I will ask for a motion to waive our procedural rules and have the clerk report, please.
Moved by Councillor Hill, second by Councillor Neal, that the procedural rules be waived and the city clerk report.
Those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried.
Moved by Councillor Hill, seconded by Councillor Neal, that staff be directed to prepare a draft zoning bylaw and request the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing to exercise their authority under Section 47 of the Planning Act and approve a minister's zoning order for the lands included in the proposed Clogs Road Business Park.
Okay, so we have a motion that is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Maybe I will kick things off. Deputy Mayor, would you take the chair?
Yes, I take the chair and I recognize you.
Thank you. So, so I think just to begin, what we have in front of us as council is an exciting economic opportunity for the city, a business that wants to locate here in our community, to create jobs and to bring investment, but that they require a parcel of land, and that the best location of that parcel of land is in the Clogs Road Business Park. Now, this business park is exactly where new businesses like this should fit. The challenge is that this business is on a very tight timeline, and so it requires a quick move to get the zoning for the property in order, which is what has led into the recommendation in front of us, which is asking for a ministerial zoning order for this parcel of land in the Clogs Road Business Park. So maybe just a couple of quick questions to staff, if I could. My first question is there anywhere else that this business could have located? I wonder if staff could speak to why we're looking at first of all, a parcel in the Clogs Road Business Park.
Commissioner Hurdle. Oh, sorry, CAO Hurdle. I apologize.
Thank you, and through you, Deputy Mayor. So thank you for the question. The currently, in terms of the city-owned business park, there would not be a parcel that would be large enough to accommodate this business. So when we are looking at our properties or city properties that are already designated and zoned for the purpose of industrial use. In terms of private property, any property that is owned by the private sector would have to go through a zoning process as well, which would be also time consuming. And I think, that's what we're looking at, is a time frame being the main issue here. And we know that Clogs Road is already within the urban boundary. It's already designated for industrial use. And what we're looking at really at this point is a zoning framework.
Mayor Patterson?
Okay, thank you. I'm just wondering if staff can confirm that because of the timelines that this business is looking at, that if council was not to request an MZO in this particular case, that there would be a likely situation that the business might not be able then to locate in Kingston. Is that a fair fair comment.
CAO Hurdle.
Thank you, and through you, Deputy Mayor. So we do know that if we had to follow the full zoning process under the Planning Act, we would not be able to meet the timelines that this particular business has established. And we are also aware that they have other options in other community that could probably move at a faster pace and would most likely be looking at these other options and not necessarily Kingston as their primary option.
Thank you. So
I return the chair.
actually,
Oh, no. Okay. I'll
I
hang
make
out
a
of the chair.
couple of comments and then I'll be
Sure.
finished. Thank you.
Sure.
I think I was just going to say that an MZO is a very rare tool. I think it's something that obviously would only something that we would look at in exceptional circumstances. And I think that this particular circumstance, that there's a very strong rationale for why council should request it. I think it's also very important to just lay out very clearly that it does not in any way set a precedent, that this is not in any way something that could be used against the city. Ultimately, it's something that requires a city council resolution to even move forward with. I think under the circumstances, given the potential benefits for economic development, given that we're already talking about a location where we would envision something like this going, given the timelines that are involved, I think that this is one of those rare moments where considering an MZO is the right move. And so I will ask council to support it. Thank you.
And I return the chair.
Thank you. Councillor Doherty.
Thank you. And through you, Mr. Mayor, you already mentioned that this land was designated for industrial use, but for this particular business, I wonder if staff could speak to if there are any concerns regarding any future contaminations of whether it's our water or the land on that land and surrounding that land.
Mr. Forrest.
Yeah, yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. The nature of the industrial use is all indoors, and there's no on-ground contaminants. And actually, from a water usage, they're considered a negative water use in the sense that the water they use in their manufacturing is also shipped with some of the byproduct that they create. So there is no environmental impacts from their processing.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak? Councillor Kylie.
Thank you, Mayor Patterson, and through you, I know you touched on this at the beginning in your comments, but I'm wondering if staff could maybe build upon the idea of the MZO being a rare tool and the relationship that an MZO can have to council in terms of approval. That could be further explained. That'd be helpful, I think.
Commissioner Agnew.
Thank you, and through your worship, and thank you, Councillor Carley, for the question. So from a council to an MZO request in terms of that relationship, staff's understanding from having some preliminary discussions with the ministry staff related to the potential use of this tool and its appropriateness relative to the ask. The one key consideration that the minister's office is looking for is a positive resolution from council in support of the minister's zoning order request. So in this case, certainly it would be required from this council relative to this ask or any other type of MZO ask. I believe that's a requirement in all cases. It's not legislated, but it's certainly something that the minister's office is looking for to ensure the municipality is online and supportive of what the overall request is. There have been an increasing number of MZOs over the last couple of years relative to maybe previous years in our province. And certainly there are a number of cities that have had some go through in the last year, in particular, 18 months, mostly related to facilitating employment type opportunities for those municipalities and growth and job opportunities. But certainly this would be the first for Kingston. But as Mayor Patterson indicated, it's not the type of thing that's precedent setting. Any type of request of that nature is strictly evaluated on a case-by-case basis by the minister, specifically whoever seated at the time.
Thanks so much.
Councillor Chappelle.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to clarify that, and Mr. Agnew had already alluded to it, that there isn't a real requirement for council to approve an MZO, and that it can be conducted without that. But because of some embarrassing type MZOs that were approved without council approval, that created some embarrassment, the current minister has a process in place by which he expects to see a positive council resolution in order to support a request for an MZO. And I just want to clarify that I have this correct, if Ms. Agnew can confirm that status of the MZO.
Commissioner Randy.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor Patterson. So I'm explaining the process as it's been explained to me by the minister's support.
Commissioner, you've just gone on mute.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I'll start again. Thank you, and through you. So I can confirm, Councillor Chappelle, that the information I've shared tonight with council is coming directly from a discussion that I had with ministry staff, asking them about what the process would be relative to the entertainment of an MZO by the minister. So it was explained to me by the staff. As far as I know, in terms of the actual Planning Act legislation, this is allowed under Section 47 of the Planning Act, but there's nothing in there that specifically legally states that a municipality needs to pass a resolution. I believe it's more of an internal process that's established to the minister's office, as opposed to legally or legislatively required.
Councillor Chappelle, you are on mute.
You're taking advantage of trying to mute me any chance you can, I see, Your Worship. Thank you. So just to clarify then, I know Your Worship, Mayor Patterson has indicated this is not precedent setting. However, there is the risk that MZOs can be pursued without council approval according to the Act. And therefore, I would just like it to be very clear that understanding the perspective of this particular rationale for this particular project, I'm compelled to support it, but I would definitely be very resistant and aggressively oppose any future MZOs for alternative projects that might be coming forward to the city. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak? Okay, we will call the vote then. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Okay, we have no further business on our agenda, so I will ask for bylaws, please.
By Councillor Doherty, seconded by Councillor Osterhoff, that bylaw 1 be given its first and second reading.
All those in favor? Opposed?
Moved by
Carried.
and moved by Councillor Osanek and seconded by Councillor Kiley, that bylaw 1 be given its third reading.
Those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Motion to adjourn, please. Moved by Councillor Neal, seconded by Councillor Doherty. All those in favor? Opposed? And we are adjourned. Have a good night, everybody.